Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special segment. We're calling it a relation segment.
You can't even be serious.
We're 6 years old. I don't know if you know or not. Any little thing makes us laugh.
Alright, so since we have a female on board today, we're going to talk about our first deep uncomfortable
Conversation.
I like it.
conversation. Alright, Nate,
Y'all
take it
are
away.
already all awkward. So, can female and male be best friends without having feelings for each other?
What do you think, Devin? You're the teacher out of all of us, so.
I'm the teacher out of all of us. I think it comes to, I mean, honestly, I think you can, but it comes to like to an extent, you know, like, are they hanging out after work?
Yeah, let's say they're best friends. Like me and you. I'm a girl.
You know what? I'm so proud of you for taking the ownership on that. You could have been like, you're the girl. Patrick's like, I'm the girl. I'm so proud of you, buddy.
This just means I'm finally the man.
That took a sharp left turn, I feel like.
Man. Hold on. Can we just please cut that out? Cut it out. Please, just cut that part out.
No.
No. Well, anywho, just please cut it out.
And then you said anywho.
You're supposed to be the Rico Suave.
Yeah.
buddy.
Okay, so
Yeah, like we hang out, we text each other all day. I'm sending you selfies with the butterflies. Everything like that. But keeping it at a friend mutual basis.
no, not like that. If you're sending me like butterflies and kind of like LOLs, I probably start getting the feeling that you like me. Would you like to go eat dinner, or like would you like to go grab something to eat? You know.
So I used to have a different opinion. I would always be like, well, of course you can. Yeah, you can. Because I feel like I'm pretty cool. Like, I can chill with guys, like, hang out, do football. But then, after thinking about it, I would think that eventually one or the other starts having feelings. So, even though I know, like, I have a guy friend that has been a friend for a long time. But I could see that if I talk to him all the time, like, I feel like things could change and he could feel certain ways towards me. So I think one or the other will start falling for one another.
Right.
Mason, me and you've been friends a long time.
We're not dating? This whole time. No. No, I mean, the thing about it is the fact that I think that's such a tough topic, right? Just because
That's what we handle here.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Tough topics.
there's so many things to take into consideration. So, what's your relationship with that person prior? Like, were you complete strangers? You started off as friends. Like, of course, at that point, there's more than likely someone's going to get involved, like with feelings involved. Are you mutual friends with somebody else, and that's why you may be an ex or whatever? And the thing before, I think my view on it kind of changed a little bit too, because before my view was like, absolutely not. There's no way. You know what I mean? Like if we're friends or whatever, like I'm probably gonna bounce, right? Like, all right, deuces, we're cool, but I'm not gonna talk to you all the time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna text you all day or whatever. When I'm friends with Brandy, obviously we talk pretty much every single day. But there's no like, hey, like what's up? Let's hang out all the time and like hook up and stuff. That's never been the conversation we've had before. But it's just, I think there's so many things to take in consideration at that point.
Were you with somebody when you were friends with Brandy?
So, yeah. So obviously,
Did you think that played a difference though? You know what I mean?
If somebody else wasn't involved, like would it have turned out differently? Maybe. I don't know. Like there's so many things again that would affect it, right? Like if there wasn't a certain person, involved prior to that, maybe things would have turned out differently. Who knows? But obviously, like right now, like I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, Randy, what's up? Let's go hang out." Like, you know what I mean? So we're pretty much just friends.
Yeah, so like the guy friend that I had, like I feel nothing. Like I would never do anything. I don't feel anything for him. Like he was always just really cool. That's it. But like the other way around, I don't know how that goes. So when I look at it from Patrick's view, like I'm like, you're right. One or the other would feel something. And it might not be me because I feel like I can be cool. Like I hang out with a lot of people. But the other way around, one or the other feels something. So no. And if you were in a relationship, would you feel comfortable if you were with somebody and they had a best friend that was the opposite sex?
So that again is tough. What?
So we do tough topics.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of things, but you start talking about relationships, we all fold.
I mean that. You obviously know I'm not the greatest when it comes to relationships. Obviously.
That's why you're here today. You're
Yeah.
an expert. You're an expert in bad relationships.
I like it. I like it.
JK.
So am I comfortable with my partner having a friend, the opposite sex? So do I know the person? Like if we hung out, like are we cool? Like, you know, do we kick it sometimes? Do we talk other than the fact that when we just see each other? Or is it just some guy that at work that I don't really know that well? Like that's the part that's...
Okay, well then let's attack both. Let's say right
Okay.
now it's just some guy that she goes to lunch with. She texts every now and then. You see her. They have a little happy emoji by their Snapchat names. I mean, you've never personally met this gentleman.
Right. At that point, I always try to make an effort to invite him places, right? So I can get to know the person. Because if you can kind of get to know the person, you can kind of tell what their intentions are sometimes. Not always, but for the most part, you can kind of say, this dude's obviously into my girl, or he's really not, right? You can kind of pick and, you know, figure out, is he a threat at that point?
But
Get that vibe.
Yeah.
But don't you think like being a guy, like there's intention?
You know to
there?
hide. Yeah, like coming
Oh.
from a guy, you know that obviously if you were into this female and she brought her boyfriend around, you would put on your poker face and make it 100% seem like you weren't.
Right.
So even if you met this guy, you know his attentions and his poker face, basically.
Right. So
'cause
at
you've
that
had to put
point,
that on.
yeah, no, I get that 100% because obviously, like, I've been that guy, right? We all know in this room that I've been that guy, right? Like that's the thing. But like, my thing is at least it helps your odds, right? It helps your chances a little bit, right? It's not a foolproof plan. I'm not giving somebody a foolproof plan and say, hey, dude, this is gonna work every single time, but it's gonna help your odds a little bit, right? And then too, like, really, like. It comes down to trusting the other person. Like, is this a person you can put in a room with someone of the opposite sex and trust them 100% that nothing's going to happen? Or is this someone that you're like, I don't feel comfortable with that? Then it's more your relationship problem opposed to, like, do I trust the opposite sex at that point?
So what's the line? They're best friends. Your girlfriend's best friend, which is a dude, wins tickets to go see LeBron and Carmelo play in LA, right?
Okay.
And then so he invites her. But would you let her go? I mean, not let her go. That's the wrong term. But would you be okay
That
with
was
that?
a bit controlling. But that's what it comes down to, though. At the end of the day, really, like,
Right.
are you comfortable with it? Do you make it an argument?
Right.
Do you bring it up and say, hey, like, this is an issue? Again, it really comes down to how far along the relationship are you? How much have you committed to it? Do you trust that person enough to say, hey, like, I can put you in a room with somebody else and not worry about it? But if there's even a slight hint of like, man, I don't know, like, I don't feel comfortable with that, I think you should be allowed to at least say, hey, I don't know how comfortable I am with that.
Like an overnight trip.
Yeah.
I would definitely be uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. I
Especially
think no
go-
matter how much I trusted the other person, overnight trip with another female, that's yikes.
So again, at that point,
Because
But what-
I'm not gonna lie, because like years ago, I did go on a trip with a friend, and it was a trip.
Was it just you and that guy?
It was a friend, and
Anything
we
happened?
all stayed in the same room, but no, nothing happened. He slept in the other bed with somebody else, female, but like they didn't do anything either, so nothing did happen.
right. Not every dude's like.
Right.
Some people are you can kind of trust, but at the end of the day, like my thing is what can you really say though? Like, can you?
But if I had a boyfriend at the time and he felt uncomfortable, I wouldn't have gone.
But you said when you went on this trip, it was you, another dude, another guy, and another girl. But what if it was just you and
So it
another
was
guy?
just like friends.
But yeah, but we're just saying if it was you and another guy.
He wins a trip and takes you.
Yeah.
No, takes
Takes her.
takes him. Sorry.
Well, and do I have a boyfriend?
Yes.
Well, I guess if he trusts me, then I go. But if he feels any bit uncomfortable, I wouldn't go.
I mean, this is the guy's shot. Y'all going out of town to a basketball game. Y'all can go
Well,
to a club later.
I would
walk
want
down
my guy to go
downtown.
with me. I don't want my guy to go with
He
me.
just has 2 tickets, him and you.
Well, I'd ask for, not for permission, but only if he felt comfortable. Because, I mean, I know myself that I wouldn't do anything, but, I mean,
Right.
how does
But it's
he
so
feel?
tough to prevent someone from taking advantage of a trip or something cool like
Right.
that. Like, then they're gonna kind of resent you a little bit. Like they see the Snapchats, they see the stuff on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and they're like, I could have went to something cool, and like instead I'm here on the couch with you. And then that's when like stuff with like issues with the relationship come into consideration. At that point, like now she's kind of mad about it, and then she's not mad enough to be like pissed off at you, but like there's like the sandwich is now crushed a little bit when she gets it to you, or like
it's like something that's gonna be brought up later.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
argument.
This is gonna come out eventually.
Yeah.
So what you haven't said anything on you? Like what would you? I've seen him kind of hiding a little bit. Like
All right, next episode. All right,
I
well,
feel like I overtook that one a whole lot.
so I look at it as like a biological thing, right? So we are harnessed as animals, right? That's basically we're a species of animals, and in animals, our brains are hardwired to survive and to essentially reproduce. That's what we're here for, right? We get hungry, we go eat. We get thirsty, we go drink. In life or death situations, we fight for our lives, and we are attracted to the opposite sex or define mates, period, define love, because that's just how we're hardwired, right? And science says that men sweat and they release a chemical that essentially attracts women, right? That's why they always say the easiest way to find women is to go dancing. Why? You sweat, she sweats. It creates literally this chemical balance, right? So we are programmed to fall for this other individual. So it's hard, in my opinion, to get close to somebody and try to fight human DNA, right? That's the way I look at it. Like you'll see a lot of women and you ask them, what's your favorite thing about your man? A lot of them will say, I love the way he smells. Why do you think that is? It's because, again, she is attracted to that chemically. Whether you think that's the thing, like she's literally attracted to that.
And it could be like the stinky shirt.
Yeah, it's something.
I've never.
You've never heard women say that?
Yeah,
Women
you
will say
grab the
that.
shirt, you
A
smell
sweaty
it.
T-shirt?
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard women say sweaty t-shirt.
Maybe
But
just
Now he's like, yeah.
not a sweaty one, but your shirt.
Hide
like,
all of your
smell.
sweaty T-shirts.
Like your shirt, like the way it smells, like the smell.
I get the
that's
smell
why.
part. I get that.
Right, so we're programmed to find that and to create that. So to
Sure.
start to get close to somebody and start to create that balance and to say that it's not going to happen on either or side is rare, in my opinion. Is
Sure.
it impossible? Probably not impossible, but it's extremely rare.
Right, but I think that's kind of like when you talked about food and water and stuff, right? Like it's a need, it's something we have to have, right? But like obviously you go out to eat when you're hungry, but you don't. Most people don't buy everything off the menu,
Right.
right? You eat until you're full, or you drink until you're not thirsty anymore. It's not easy for you to be with someone and not feel like I'm into this person, and it involves some effort, right? Because you got to say, hey, look, like I have a girlfriend at home and I have a wife at home, and I can't. Yeah, I gotta draw a line. It's not easy at all, but like I think that's something that really you kind of have to do, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's the question. Like the question is like you can't, like obviously you're not just gonna hate on everybody. You're not gonna stay by yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there is that line. Like
Yeah.
you can't be completely comfortable hanging out and to me like complaining about your significant other. Like these things are creating this bond that essentially is probably going to lead to something on one side or the other. Not saying it's always gonna happen with the male, it's always gonna happen with the female, but to fight that human urge
Right.
to survive is an extremely difficult thing to do.
And I guess it'd be like let's say that you work at a company and you go on these business trips with your coworkers. You have to trust your spouse if they're going on this trip, and it's male, female.
Well, see, even like stuff like that's different. That's going back to like what Mace is saying. Like again, we're just talking about this closeness thing. Granted, like if you're gonna go out with the lunch with this person for one time, obviously this bond is gonna create instantly, and then all of a sudden they're gonna fall in love. But and the same thing with like this business trips, right? You on a business trip, you obviously there's other. As humans, we've gone past the just pure survival instinct, and we've gone to obviously developing feelings and trust into one another. So yeah, there are other plays, but I'm talking about specifically, you're talking to this person every single day, you're hanging out with this person every single day, along those lines. If that's a possible thing to just fight against.
So you're talking about something that happens over time.
Yeah,
Basically, that's what it is.
yeah.
Happen over
Because
time.
to me, like that's
Yeah, it
would
doesn't
be the
happen
thing.
overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like you don't just see the person like, oh, I'm gonna cheat on my wife with this person.
Yeah.
That's not what happens, right? It's something that's missing in your relationship that the other person feels, and you feel that now you can get that from this other person, right? But I think what you were saying is the whole talking every single day, the whole texting with the butterflies and the emojis and stuff like that. There's got to be a line, right? Like you got to say, hey, look, we're friends and we kick it and we hang out, but like this other extra stuff, that can't be a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be something that we can't do.
That kind of makes sense because a lot of people who get married end up started as best friends at first and eventually evolves over time.
100%. And that's what because we were talking about this at work actually the other day, and it's because I have a coworker that he's been married for, I don't even know, 20 years, probably 20 years plus. But he met his wife and they were best friends throughout high school, best friends through college. They would introduce each other to, they're each other's friends until one day they're like, you know what, why don't we just hang out?
Yeah, I mean,
and now they're married. So that's why I think, again, it's a human thing. Like, we're attracted to people, and you spend so much time with somebody, the feelings are going to arise. We are chemically built that way.
Yep.
And is it a thing that opposites attract?
Like a personality thing? I would assume so. I've always been a believer that opposites attract because I feel like if you have two strong-headed people, they tend to collide. That's why you always have the implementation of, somebody is whooped, quote unquote, in the relationship, but you do have to have someone that's dependent and independent to be able to form that bond, I feel like.
I can kind of see that. I don't know how much like the whole opposite attracts. Like, I don't know how much that, like, I can see it working in a relationship, like you're saying, where someone's, dependent and independent. But am I more attracted to someone that's not like me, like, opposed to someone who is?
Right.
I don't know if I would say that.
Would you like to have somebody like a female that has like, I know this is gonna sound weird, but like Patrick, you know how y'all get along?
That was a total joke now. I mean, now you're making it weird. What, are you asking if I would date a female version of Patrick? Is that what you're asking me? Can we use the chick from Olive Garden as an example? Because that's a better example, probably.
Chick from Olive Garden is a beautiful, way better
The
example.
chick from Olive Garden is a better example. Would I like my girl to be like that? Probably, yes. Like,
But you wouldn't go after her because we obviously saw at Olive Garden. At Olive Garden, this lady, beautiful lady, loved the Avengers movies, loved LeBron James, watched basketball
she
all
loved
the
LeBron
time.
James. She loved basketball.
She laughed at all my jokes.
Our jokes, first of all.
Yeah, but I'm a little funnier. So was like basically flirting with Mace. It was like, oh, you have such nice facial hair. Right?
None of that happened.
And Mace was like, yeah, it's cool. I'm watching the game. Can you walk away and give me some more peach tea? Totally missed the ball there.
I did miss the ball. To be fair, I've been out of the game for a long time, so I was a little rusty. Old me would have taken advantage of that, 100%. I'm getting back in the game, so spare me that.
Y'all heard it, ladies. 1-800.
No, like to answer your question, Naomi, I personally would probably have someone that I would like someone that's a little more that likes stuff that I like, and you can get along more, opposed to like the whole opposites attract thing. Because that's exciting, at first, like arguing and stuff, and like, you know how that stuff happens or whatever. But like, would I prefer someone to sit there and watch a basketball game with me? Like 100%, probably, yeah.
So as always,
Stay fresh.
Stay hungry.
Stay driven.
and stay humble.